And it's also the temperature changes, and people, it could be a degree or two.
Yes.
So it's not noticeable, but it's a degree, another degree, another degree, another degree. I'm always cold. I hate winter. In fact, I think bears and squirrels have the best idea. You go to sleep, you hibernate you eat for 9 months to get fat so that you can survive winter, and you sleep for 3 months. I could think of nothing better.
Yes,
Can you imagine?
it's true.
Frida to sleep for 3
It'll be
months.
good. Just
Wonderful. It's amazing.
And I'm sure all you learners out there are waiting for such a period.
And you don't get fat. I mean, you eat all this food, and when you wake up, you're all slim and what a pleasure. But anyway, we can't do that, people. And getting warmer, we'll say, well, that's great, that'd be nice and warm, and everyone will have a climate like Durban, which is like one of my best places in South Africa. But we can't have that, because we need the cold, we need the warm, we need the frost, we need all those things. It's part of the environment and the habitat our organisms live in. Remember natural selection. So we look at the greenhouse effect, causes global warming. So that's when these gases trap that infrared light and don't allow it to leave. If global warming is not slowed down or reversed, we have a huge problem. Well, not Frida and I, we'll be dead and buried.
Yes.
Okay, but your grandchildren and your grandchildren's grandchildren, we need to work together now. People ignored it in our parents' generations. They ignored it. And our parents' it's, you know what, it's so big, it's so vast, it's not a problem. Except all those little bits start, it's like putting drops in a bucket. Eventually the bucket does fill up, and then we have a problem. You are going to have, no, in fact you won't. Your grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren will. They'll be walking around with masks. Okay, so the changes in the climate, as the Earth's temperature increases, we're going to have more condensation, which is going to result in more cloud cover. I mean, all of this actually makes sense. Over certain regions, reducing the light reaching the Earth. Now, guess what? Plants need light to photosynthesize, so they're not going to get enough light. This will also cause a reduction in rainfall, because you're going to have all the clouds sitting up there, and we're going to end up with desertification. So we did this in grade 10 with you, and in grade 11, an area just becomes like a desert.
Now, what happened to the polar ice caps? They could melt. This causing a rise in the sea level, flooding many islands and coastal cities. So it's also a problem, and we've noticed the caps are melting. People are moving over to look at it. There is a serious problem. It is coming slowly, and it's going to hit one of the generations.
Yeah, it's like that bucket when it fills up and it tips over. Okay, and everyone says, but the bucket wasn't full. You know, what happened? Why did the bucket, how did the bucket get full? We need to catch a wake up now, people. All right, so extremes in temperatures. This will cause changes in the agricultural growth patterns. You'll have drought, you'll have food shortages, and that's going to be a huge issue, because remember, your farmers plant according to the seasons. Now, if the season changes by 3 or 4 weeks, you end up with frost, which damages the little seedlings. Or you end up with rains that make the wheat go frot, and they've got to just discard that and plow in that entire crop. So we have problems here. Temperatures, very, very important. So we need to watch that. Then also changes in the high and low air pressure zones. And this results in hurricanes and cyclones. For those of you that do geography, and for those of you that don't, the ones that do are going to understand what we're saying here. But it's your high and low pressure areas that create your cyclones and your weather patterns. When next they do the weather broadcast on the news, or part of at the end of the news, have a look, because they'll say, here we're going to have rain, because there is a low pressure belt that's being created because of the high pressure belt that's moved out, etc., etc. Listen to it, because it will make more sense, this whole process will anyway. Okay, now we look at our extraterrestrial theories, and they say, all right, first one, the Big Bang. Come, Frida.
The famous Big Bang
theory. The Big Bang.
We're going to look at the Big Bang theory now. Now, scientific evidence reveals now that the universe began 10 to 15 billion years ago with an incredible explosion called the Big Bang. Now, in the process of nucleosynthesis, now referring to, remember all the elements? When you did elements, there was a nucleus in an atom. We're talking about that now, right? So the nucleosynthesis, the nuclear fusion occurs in stars, and this causing elements to join to produce heavier elements, generating large amounts of energy. That was the Big Bang Theory. All right. Now remember, we talk about atoms, no longer your biology. We just went a little way to now physics or chemistry rather, because nucleus was a nucleus that we did in a cell. We're not talking about that, but the nucleus in an atom. And if you're not doing now physics or chemistry, we're just trying to clear that.
People, you would have done it in grade 8 and 9 anyway. Remember that any atom. Okay, atom is the smallest particle of that can take matter that can take up space. That is what an atom is. That's its definition. Inside the atom, there is a nucleus. Inside that nucleus is one proton, or is a proton and a neutron. Okay, so depending on what element it is, let's say oxygen, there will be 8 protons and 8 neutrons sitting in the inside of that nucleus. Then floating around the nucleus, you are going to have your electrons. Let's take hydrogen. Hydrogen was one. So you'd have 1 proton, 1 neutron, and floating around that core, that nucleus core, you would then have 1 electron. So your electrons and your protons are always equal. Your electrons are negatively charged, your protons are positively charged. The minute you remove one of them, you create isotopes. That's what they use with carbon dating. They're using isotopes, your carbon-14, for example. Okay, so that is what the Big Bang is. In other words, to get these atoms and the nuclei of those atoms to fuse, it creates an immense amount of energy. And it's that energy that's created there. That energy is then trapped. And that then just goes, pwah, and that was our Big Bang. So we are all here because of a huge explosion. That's one of the theories. Okay, now we look at meteor collisions. Lots of movies about meteor collisions and saving the Earth. And you've got Armageddon coming, and you've got these guys going off in these spaceships and their worms and whatever it is to drill in so we can use nuclear power to break the meteor up. Amazing movies, and you sit there and you think, oh, thank heavens it's not going to happen. Be careful, because they say it has happened, so it could happen again. Right, meteor collisions. Scientific evidence, a huge meteor hit the Earth and generated enormous waves which produced tsunamis. Now we all know, we've seen what tsunamis can cause. Tsunamis that tore up the bottom of the ocean. Fossil records show that the oldest known microbial fossils have been found in rock 3.4 to 3.5 billion years old, about the same time of the ancient meteor collision that has been documented. And again, they have scientific proof. The impact on the hot Earth would send large amounts of dust into the atmosphere, causing the Earth's climate to cool and cause the ice age that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. And this is what they're basing it on. Okay, this huge big meteor collision.
So actually, you know now why dinosaurs became extinct.
Well, it's a theory.
It's a theory.
It's a theory. Remember, nobody knows. Unless you were there and you actually saw it happen, no movie director can make it real. No scientist can actually say, this is it. There it is. That is proof. Because they are all still theories. They're all theories.
Yes.
Depends on what you believe.
Until then, bye.
Cheers.
Summary. In these lessons you learned about the different causes of mass extinction, about the impact of mass extinction on generations and species.
Learning Channel offers an extensive educational collection ranging from grades 8 to 12 in alignment with the National Curriculum Statement. We offer DVD and workbook sets in a number of different subjects. To buy the Learning Channel series, check out our website on www.learn.co.za or call us on 011 639 0179.